Write the equation of a line that has a slope of 3 and a y-intercept of 4. The slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. Given that a slope is 3 and a y-intercept is 4, by plugging in these two values, we have y equals 3x plus 4. If two lines are perpendicular, what is the relationship between their slopes m1 and m2? If line 1 and line 2 are perpendicular, they form a 90-degree angle in between these two lines. Their slopes will be a negative reciprocal. Or an opposite reciprocal, so that the relationship is the m1 equals negative 1 over m2, or we can write this as m1 times m2 equals negative 1. What if they are parallel? If two lines are parallel, these two lines do not touch, so the m1 equals to m2. Write and graph the equation of a vertical line that passes through 1, 4. Also write the graph the equation of a horizontal line that passes through the same point. First, we graph a rectangular coordinate. The point that we are given is 1, 4. So we go over by 1 and up by 4. So the point is right here. First, we want a vertical line that passes through that point. So the graph should look like the red line. Now, the vertical line has a form of x equals a, where a is the x-coordinate of a point. So our equation of the line will be x equals 1. A horizontal line that goes through 1, 4 will look like a blue line. A horizontal line has a form of y equals b, where b is a y coordinate of a point. So the answer will be y equals 4. A graph represents a function if it passes a blank line test. The answer is a vertical line test. Let me show you how a vertical line test works. Look at the first graph on the left. We have our graph, which is a parabola. If you want to know whether the parabola is a function or not, you draw a random vertical line, and if the vertical line passes the original function, original graph, at only one point, then the graph is a function. Let's look at the second graph. Laying down parabola, when we draw a vertical line, which is the red line crosses the parabola at 2 points. So it is not a function. To be a function, every vertical line has to cross the original function only once. So the last one, you have semicircle on top of X bar. Since a vertical line crosses the semicircle at only once, this is a function as well. If the system of linear equations results in two parallel lines, what type of system is obtained? If the system of linear equations result in two parallel lines, notice that there are no solutions since two lines do not intersect. So the system is called inconsistent. If the two lines intersect, then notice that there is one unique intersecting point. So there is one unique solution. Therefore, the system is called consistent system. Convert the equation 2x plus 5y equals -1 into slope-intercept form. Find the X-intercept, the Y-intercept, and the graph the line. First, we're going to solve 2x plus 5y equals -1 for y. So 5y equals -2x minus 1. So y equals negative 2 over 5x minus 1 over 5. The y-intercept of the line is negative 1 over 5. That could be found in the slope-intercept form. So the y-intercept equals negative 1 over 5. To find x-intercept, set y equals 0 and solve the equation for x. So 2x plus 5y equals negative 1 becomes 2x plus 5 times 0 equals negative 1. So 2x equals negative 1. So x equals negative 1/2. This is the x-intercept. To graph the line, first we plot the y-intercept, which is negative 1 over 5. The coordinate of y-intercept is 0, negative 1 over 5. So we go down by negative 1 over 5 and plot the point. The slope of the line is negative 2 over 5. This slope suggests that we go over by 5 and down by 2. So from the y-intercept, we go over by 5 and down by negative 2 units. And here is your next point. Finally, you connect these two dots and extend the line. And here we have the line of the equation. Solve for y and determine if the lines are parallel, perpendicular, or neither. First, take a look at the top equation, which is 2x plus 3y equals 9. 3y equals negative 2x plus 9. So y equals negative 2/3 x plus 3. Note that the slope of the equation, let's call it m1, this is negative 2/3. Now let's look at the second equation, 6x plus 9y equals 20. So 9y equals negative 6x plus 20. By dividing both sides by y, 9, we get y equals negative 2/3 x plus 20 over 9. So the slope 2 will be negative 2/3. Now let's compare these two slopes. Notice that m1 is the same as m2. Therefore, the line 1 and line 2 are parallel. Given f of x equals 5x squared minus 4x minus 10, find f of negative 2. To find f of negative 2, we replace all the x's in f of x function with negative 2. So we have 5 times negative 2 squared minus 4 times negative 2 minus 10. So 5 times 4 plus 8 minus 10 equals 20 plus 8 minus 10. So that 28 minus 10, that will give us 18 as the answer. F of 4 is to replace all the x's in the function with 4 and evaluate the function. So 5 times 4 squared minus 4 times 4 minus 10 equals 5 times 16, which is 4 squared, minus 16 minus 10. So 80 minus 16 minus 10 equals 64 minus 10. So the answer is 54. Finally, f of 0 is found by replacing all the x's with zeros. So 5 times 0 squared minus 4 times 0 minus 10. 5 times 0, which is 0, so we can cancel that term, minus 4 times 0, which is also 0. So we're left with negative 10 as the answer. For the given set relation 2, 1, 3, 5, 4, 1, find the domain and range. Does this set represent a function? To find domain, we read the x value of each set. So the domain of the relation will be 2, 3, and 4. And the range of the relation is the y values of each ordered pair. So the answer will be 1 and 5. It's important to note that you do not repeat a number So in this case, do not repeat 5. To determine if the set represents a function, first list all the domains and range vertically. So 2, 3, 4 for the domain, and 1, 5 for the range. Now we are going to match the domain and range. The first order pair says 2, 1. So we put arrow from 2 to 1, going from the domain to range. 3, 5 suggests us to go from 3 to 5. 4, 5 is from 4 to 5. Look at the arrows coming out from the domain. Since only one arrow coming out from each value in the domain, This is a function. A line contains the following points: -1, 3, and 2, 5. Calculate its slope. Since you're given 2 points, we will use the formula for the slope, which is m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, where x1, y1 is a point and x2, y2 would be another point. So let -1 be x1, 3 be y1, and let 2 be x2, and 5 be y2. So the formula becomes 5 minus 3 over 2 minus -1, which will give us 2/3. So the slope is 2/3. Write its equation in slope-intercept form. Since we know the slope and given a point, we are going to use the point-slope formula to construct the equation. So y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So the equation becomes y minus 3 equals m, which we found that to be 2/3, times x minus x1, which is -1. So y minus 3 equals 2/3 times x plus 1. By distributing 2/3 to each term in the parentheses, we have y minus 3 equals 2/3 x plus 2/3. Since the problem is asking us to put your answer in slope-intercept form, by solving y, we get y equals 2/3 x plus 2/3 plus 3, which is 11/3. C. Find the Y-intercept and the X-intercept. Y-intercept could be easily found in B, which is 11/3. To find X-intercept, first we set y equals 0 and solve the equation for x. So we have y equals 2/3 x plus 11/3. So by plugging in 0 for y, we have 0 equals 2/3 x plus 11/3. So -11/3 equals 2/3 x. By dividing both sides by 2/3, we have x equals -11/3 times 3/2. So the answer is x equals negative 11/2. Graph the line. Since we have 2 points already given, we can plot these points and then connect the dots to form a line. The first point is negative 1, 3. So we go to the left by negative 1 and go up by 3 to get the first point. Then for the other point, we go over by 2 and go up by 5. Finally, we connect these 2 dots and extend the line, and we have the line of the equation. Is negative 2, 6 the solution of the system? X plus y equals 4, and 2x plus 3y equals 8. First, we're going to plug negative 2 into x in both equations and 6 into y into both equations to see if the statement is true. So for the first equation, we have x plus y equals 4. So negative 2 plus 6 is 4. This statement is true. For the second equation, we have 2x plus 3y equals 8. So 2 times negative 2 plus 3 times 6 equals 8. Negative 4 plus 18 equals 8, which is a false statement. Since at least one equation is false, the answer is no. To a point be the solution of the system, the point has to make both equations true. Write an equation of the line that passes through 0, 2 and is perpendicular to the line 4x plus 2y equals 3. Notice that we were given a point which is 0, 2, which is also a y-intercept of the equation. So we'll have to find the slope of the line by solving 4x plus 2y equals 3 for y. So 2y equals negative 4x plus 3. So y equals negative 2x plus 3/2. The slope of the line is negative 2. However, the slope that we're looking for is a perpendicular to the slope. So our slope will be the opposite reciprocal of negative 2, which is positive 1/2. So now we have our m, which is 1/2. Since we know the y-intercept, which is 2, we can easily use the slope-intercept formula to construct our equation. So by plugging in m equals 1/2 and b equals 2, we have y equals 1/2 x plus 2. Graph the solution of the inequality. 2x minus y is greater than or equal to 3 in a rectangular coordinate system. First, consider the equation 2x minus y equals 3. And we're going to graph the line first, which is called a boundary line. So by solving for y, we have y equals 2x minus 3. So the y-intercept is negative 3. So first we plot the y-intercept. And from that point, since the slope is 2, which will give us the rise of 2 and the run of 1, we go up by 2 and go over by 1 to get the next point. Now notice that the original inequality says greater than or equal to, where we have a flat bar underneath of inequality. So this will suggest that we are going to use a solid line instead of dashed line. So we're going to connect these two dots and extend the line, and here we have the line of the equation. Now we have to determine which side we are going to shade. To determine which side to shade, we're going to choose is called test point. Test point could be any point that is not on the line, which is in this case in a red line that I draw. So I'm going to choose the easy point, which is 0, 0. Since 0, 0 is not on the line. So we are going to plug in 0, 0 into the original inequality to see if the statement is true. So 2 times 0 minus 0 is greater than or equal to 3. 0 minus 0 is greater than or equal to 3. So 0 is greater than or equal to 3, which is a false statement. This says the point we chose, which was 0, 0, is on the false side. So we are going to shade the side where 0, 0 is not included. So this is the final answer. Find the equation of a line that contains the point 2, 3 and with a slope equal to 1 over 6. Since we're given a point and a slope, we're going to use a point-slope formula. Point-slope formula, which is given by y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So 2, negative 3 would be 2 is x1 and negative 3 is y1. So the equation becomes y minus negative 3 equals 1 over 6 times x minus 2. So y plus 3 equals 1 over 6x minus 1/3. By subtracting 3 from both sides, we have y equals 1 over 6x minus 1/3 minus 3. Note that negative 1/3 minus 3 equals negative 1/3 minus 9 over 3, which is negative 10 over 3. So the answer is y equals 1 over 6x minus 10/3. Find the slope of the line and graph it. So we have 2x minus 6y equals 10. To find the slope of the line, first we solve the equation for y. So negative 6y equals negative 2x plus 10. By dividing both sides by negative 6, we have y equals 1/3 x minus 5/3. So to graph the line, first we're going to plot the y-intercept, which is negative 5 over 3. Negative 5/3 is negative 1 and 2/3. So if we go down by 1 and cut the 1 tick into 3 pieces and take the second point. So we have negative 5/3 right here. Okay, now the slope is 1/3, so we go up by 1 and over by 3. So first we're going over by 3. And up by 1. And you connect the dots, and here we have the graph of the line. Find the slope of the line and graph it. 3x plus 2y equals 8. To find the slope of the line, first we solve the equation for y. So 2y equals negative 3x plus 8. So y equals negative 3/2 x plus 4. So the y-intercept is 4. So that will be the point we plot first. And the slope suggests that we go down by 3 and go over by 2 from the y-intercept. So we go down by 3 and go over by 2. So here we have the second point. We connect these two dots and extend the line. And here we have the line of the equation. Solve the following system of equations. Y equals negative 2x minus 1 and x plus 2y equals 4. Since the top equation is already solved for y, we're going to use substitution method. So, x plus 2 times negative 2x minus 1 equals 4, where I plugged negative 2x minus 1 into the other equation. So we have x plus negative 4x minus 2 equals 4. So negative 3x minus 2 equals 4. So negative 3x equals 6. So x equals negative 2. To find y, we will use the top equation, which is y equals negative 2x minus 1. So y equals negative 2 times negative 2 minus 1. So y equals 4 minus 1, which will give us 3. So the answer will be negative 2, 3. Solve the following system of equations. 2x minus 7y equals 7. And negative 5x plus 3y equals 7. First, we decide which variable to be eliminated. I decide to eliminate x. Now, we're going to find the LCD of 2 and negative 5, which are the coefficients of x. So the LCD would be 10. So somehow we want to make 2x to 10x and 5x to negative 10, so that when we add both equations, we get 0x. So we're going to multiply the first equation by 5. And we multiply the bottom equation by 2. So we have 10x minus 35y equals 35. And the bottom equation becomes negative 10x plus 6y equals 14. When we add these two equations, notice that the x terms are gone. So we're left with negative 29y equals actually, the problem was 2x minus 7y equals 3 for the top equation. So we have 10x minus 35y equals 15. So by adding 15 plus 14, we have 29. So y equals negative 1. So to find x, we use either a top equation by the bottom equation. I decide to use the top equation. So 2x minus 7y equals 3. So 2x minus 7 times negative 1 equals 3. So that 2x plus 7 equals 3. 2x equals negative 4. So x will be negative 2. So the answer will be negative 2, comma, negative 1. A 40% acid solution is to be mixed with a 60% solution to get 100 liters of 55% solution. How many liters of each solution should be used? Since we are mixing two kinds of solutions, we're going to use beakers to explain the whole solution. Okay, let's use the top row for the percentage of each solution, and the bottom row is for the amount, and in this case, liters for each solution. So the first solution that we have has 40% acid, so the percentage will be 40. And the second solution we have has acid of 60%, so we have 60. And the mixture has a percentage which is 55%. Now let's look at the amount. Since we do not know how much we need for 40% acid solution, we let the amount be x. So the x would be the amount of 40% acid solution. And we also do not know the amount of solution with 60% acid. We let y is the amount of 60% acid solution. The amount of the mixture is 100 liters. Okay, now we're going to make two equations since we have two variables. The first equation comes from the total amount of the mixture. When you add the amount of the 40% solution to the amount of 60% solution, we get the total of 100 liters. Next, we're going to calculate the amount of pure acid. The pure acid is given by multiplying percentage in decimals by the amount of acid solution. So the pure acid amount for the first solution will be 0.4 times x. And we add the amount to the amount of pure acid in 60% solution, which is given by 0.6y. That will give us 0.55 times 100, which is the amount of pure acid in the mixture. Here we have a system of linear equations with two variables. So we are going to solve the system. First, we're going to solve the top equation for x. So we have x equals 100 minus y. Then we're going to substitute this into the x in the bottom equation. So we have 0.4 times 100 minus y plus 0.6y equals 0.55 times 100, which is 55. By multiplying 10 on both sides, we can eliminate the decimal points. So we have 4 times 100 minus y plus 6y equals 550. So 400 minus 4y plus 6y equals 550. By combining like terms, we have 400 plus 2y equals 550. So we have 2y equals 550 minus 400, which is 150. Y equals 150 divided by 2, which is 75 liters. To find x, we can simply go back to the original equation. So we have x equals 100 minus 75, which is 25 liters. So we need 75 liters of 60% acid solution and 25 liters of 40% acid solution. A plane can travel 567 miles per hour with the wind and 533 miles per hour against the wind. What is the speed of the plane in still air? And what is the speed of the wind? Since we do not know both the speed of the plane in still air and the speed of the wind, we let x be the speed of the plane in still air. And we let y be the speed of the wind. Now let's look at the relationship between the wind and the plane. When a plane can travel 567 miles per hour with the wind is helping the plane's speed. So the 567 is given by the speed of the plane added by the speed of the wind. So we have the first equation, which is x plus y equals 567. When the wind is going against the plane, since the wind is slowing down the speed of the plane, we have to subtract the speed of the wind from the speed of the plane. So we have x minus y equals 533. Here we have another equation with two variables. Now we are going to solve the system equations for x and y. Since the coefficients of y are opposites, we can simply add these two equations to eliminate y. So by adding two equations, we have 2x equals 1100. So by dividing both sides by 2, we have x equals 550 miles per hour. To find y, we can choose either of both original equations. So we have x plus 550 plus y equals 567. So y equals 567 minus 550, which will give us 17 miles per hour. So the speed of the plane in still air is 550 miles per hour, and the speed of the wind is 17 miles per hour. Two investments produce an annual interest income of $4,200. The amount invested at 14% is $6,000 less than the amount invested at 10%. Find the amount invested at 14%. We have two unknowns in this problem. One, the amount of invested amount at 14% and the amount invested at 10%. So first we let X be the amount in dollars invested at 14% and let Y be the amount in dollars invested at 10%. Now, let us make an equation in terms of an interest income, which is $4,200. The interest income obtained from the 14% account will be given by the 0.14 times the amount invested, which is X. So 0.14X is the interest income at 14% account. We add the income to the interest income at 10%, which is given by 0.10 times Y. And the total interest income is $4,200. So here's our first equation. The second equation is given by a comparison. The amount invested at 14% is $6,000 less than the amount invested at 10%. So we have an equation which is X equals Y minus 6,000. The amount invested at 14%, which is X, is $6,000 less than amount invested at 10%, which is Y. So we are going to solve the system. Notice that the bottom equation is already solved for X, so it'll be easier to use the substitution method. So we have 0.14 times Y minus 6,000 plus 0.1 Y equals 4,200. By multiplying both sides by 100, we can eliminate decimal. So we have 14 times Y minus 6,000 plus 10y equals 420,000. So 14y minus 84,000 plus 10y equals 420,000. 24y equals $504,000. So y equals $21,000. To find x, simply plug in y, which is 21,000, into x equals y minus 6,000. So y equals 21,000 minus 6,000, which is $15,000. So the answer is $21,000 for 10% account and $15,000 for 14% account. A woman has $1.70 in dimes and nickels. She has 2 more dimes than nickels. How many nickels does she have? First, we let x be the number of nickels. And we let y is the number of dimes. Since she has 2 more dimes and nickels, we can make the equation y equals x plus 2. Now we're going to make an equation in terms of values. Since she has x many nickels, the total values in 5 cents will be 0.05 times x, where 0.05 is a denomination of 1 nickel, plus the total values in dimes will be given by 0.1 times y. And the total value she has is $1.7. Now we're going to solve the system in equations. Since the top equation is already solved for y, we are going to use substitution method. So we have 0.05 x plus 0.1 times x plus 2 equals 1.7. By multiplying both sides by 100, we have 5x plus 10 times x plus 2 equals 170. 5x plus 10x plus 20 equals 170. By combining like terms, we get 15x plus 20 equals 170. So 15x equals 150. So the x will be 10. To find y, simply substitute 10 into x in top equation. So we have y equals 10 plus 2, so the answer is y equals 12. So she has 10 nickels and she has 12 dimes. From a point on the straight road, Lupe and Marissa start at the same time and ride bicycles in opposite directions. Lupe rides 10 miles per hour and Maria rides 12 miles per hour. In how many hours will they be 50 miles apart? So let us draw a picture. So here we have a straight road at the point, and Lupe and Marissa start at the same time, and they ride bicycles in opposite directions. So Marissa goes east, and Lupe goes west. Notice that this is a motion problem where distance, speed, and time were involved, so we're going to use a chart to organize the information. Okay. We are going to use the top row for Lupe and the bottom row for Maria. And the first column will be the distance, and second column will be the speed or rate in miles per hour. And the last column will be the time. Okay. The speed of Lupe is 10 miles per hour, so we're going to put 10 under the rate for Lupe, and 12 miles per hour for Marissa, so we put 12 under the rate for Marissa. In terms of time, since they left at the same time, and as soon as they hit 50 miles apart, they stopped. In terms of time, they took exactly the same amount. So we use T to represent the time for both Lupe and Marissa. Now, since we know the rate and time for both Lupe and Marissa, we can find the distance for each person. The distance for Lupe will be 10 times T, and Marissa will be 12 times T. Here I use the equation distance equals the rate times time. Now let's go back to the picture. Since they're going opposite directions, after a certain amount of time, they are 50 miles apart. The portion the Lupe covered is from the starting point up to here, so that's 10t, and Marissa covered 12 times t miles. By looking at the picture, we can construct the equation 10t plus 12t equals 55 miles. So 10t plus 12t equals 22t, which is 55. By dividing both sides by 22, we get 2.5. So in 2.5 hours, they are 50 miles apart. two hikers start at opposite ends of the same tiny trails and walk towards each other. The trail is 36 miles long and they meet in 4 hours. If one hiker is twice as fast as the other, find both hiking speeds. Let us draw a picture. Two hikers start at opposite ends of same journey. So the first one, the hiker A, is on the left-hand side and hiker B is on the right-hand side. And they walk towards each other, so they are going to meet somewhere in the middle. And the distance between them at first is 36 miles. Now we're going to construct a chart. We're going to use first row for hiker A and the second row for hiker B. In the first column is the distance, and second row column is the rate, and the last one would be the time. Since both hiker A and hiker B will meet in 4 hours, they both take 4 hours before they meet. So 4 should be under T for both A and B. Since we do not know the speed of hiker A and hiker B, we let X be the speed of hiker A, and let Y be the speed of hiker B. By using the formula distance equals rate times time, we can find the distance for both hiker A and hiker B. So we have 4 times X for the hiker A and 4 times Y for the hiker B. When we add the distance the hiker A covered, which is 4x, to the distance the hiker B covered, which is 4y, we get 36 miles, which is total miles that are apart at first. Now the second equation comes from the comparison sentence. In the problem, it says one hiker is twice as fast as the other hiker. So let's say hiker A is faster than hiker B. So the speed of hiker A, which is X, is twice as much as the speed of hiker B, which is Y. So the equation is X equals 2Y. Now we are ready to solve the system linear equations. By using substitution method, we have 4 times 2Y plus 4y equals 36. So 8y plus 4y equals 36. So 12y equals 36, and y is found to be 3 miles per hour. To find x, we simply double the miles per hour for y, so we get 6 miles per hour. So the speed of hiker A equals 6 miles per hour, and the speed of hiker B is 3 miles per hour.